Welcome, everyone. We are live. Welcome to Work Unleashed Live. This is happening. This is not your fever dream. No, this is Work Unleashed Live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Dan O'Leary, Director of Partnerships here at Box. This is Work Unleashed Live. We had a great session for you today, by the way. I think this is our 12th, maybe 13th edition of doing Work Unleashed Live. It's been really awesome to spend some time with all of you the last few months. I think could have been weeks, could have been days. Not totally sure anymore, but we are so glad you are here with us today. Check in, say hi. This is live, by the way, so I can see what you're writing. So say hi. Let us know where you're joining us from. Today we have an incredible topic today. One that's going to be really tactical. One that you're going to walk away being able to use pretty immediately. And we're going to share some ideas on how you're going to be able to take what you learned today and then learn a whole lot more afterwards. Today we are talking about tips and tricks for getting the most out of Box. I love tips. I love tricks. That sounds great. An early trick or treat, just tips and treats. Sure. You know what we're doing here today. So if you have a favorite Box tip, share your favorite in the chat. You're going to learn a few really good ones today, by the way. I think you're going to be excited. If you've been joining us over the last couple of months, you've seen that our conversations with business leaders, practitioners, executives have hopefully been helping you learn how to navigate some new ways of getting work done. Certainly, you're doing them differently than I think we all used to before. So we want to make sure specifically today, you're going to know some things that are going to help you and your teams get more out of Box. If you're already a Box customer, thank you so much. If not, we can help you do that, by the way. So and you're going to learn some new ways how to work. Hopefully it'll be useful to do that. So to help me, I know a few, but we have someone who knows them all. To help us learn all the tips and tricks about Box, how to get super duper smart, I am happy to welcome Bridget Brewer, Customer Education Manager at Box. Welcome, Bridget, to Work Unleashed Live.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here.
Bridget, we are honored to have you. And I should say welcome, or maybe howdy. Can you tell us where you're joining us from today? How the heck are you doing?
Yeah, I'm joining you from Austin, Texas. It is a cool 80 degrees right now. Humidity is enough to make my eyebrows curl. So we're having a good time down here. We're doing okay.
Some people pay for that. So if you just get that, that's a great feature.
You can just have that if you move here. You can have that and more.
So that is a tip and a trick if you want curly eyebrows. And Bridget, for those viewers, Box customers, friends of the family who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about what you do as a customer education manager? What does your life entail?
My life is a wild rodeo and primarily focused around end user enablement. So I work on the scaled side of things. That means that I teach our live trainings that are free for admins and end users. I'm also leading some major efforts to redo all the stuff that we offer in a more self-paced way on Box University, which is our training site. So I'm doing some of that. I used to work on the custom side of things where I would work with customers to develop custom training packages and hear about their pain points and then help solve for those. So I worked with banks, I worked with towns, I worked with nonprofits, I worked with a library once. It's extremely fun. It's really great to help you.
Okay, so you're sharing a well-rounded selections of tips and tricks and things for people to understand. And I think that's awesome. Usually learning technologies or learning anything can be really boring. And for those of us joining us today, if you're putting your kids to Zoom school, you may have experienced this yourself, right? So, but it sounds like, Bridget, it's different here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing to make technology easier to learn, easier for Box customers to understand?
Yeah, I have sat through many a webinar. It's like mostly software webinars can be kind of tough, like how do you dress up an open button? It can be hard. So what we do on our team is take a pretty experimental approach to being engaging, to making things feel relevant the entire time that we're there. And also because we're in a virtual environment, we really want to make sure that everyone is able to get what they need out of the session. So we try and sort of reach toward those things when we're developing trainings, which is super exciting because that's also work that I'm familiar with as an educator. Like, didn't used to work at a tech company. I have worked in social work. I've worked at universities as a teacher. I work as a teaching artist currently. So it's cool to take the things that I've learned from those endeavors and then apply them here in what is seemingly a not related field.
Love that background. And I think for many of our customers, many people joining us today, that's probably going to be common, right? I think there's a lot of folks who've ended up as educators in a company in, out of the traditional academic or education field. So it's great to see how you're applying those multidisciplinary skills to what you do here at Box. That's so cool. One of the features I'd love to understand more about, because this is something I've been using a lot lately, and maybe I know you're using it all the time. Can you tell me a little bit more about annotations? I know you mentioned this is something that you love to use too. So for the Box customers out there who've not had a chance to play with annotations, what is it? Why are you excited about it? Tell us more.
Good question. Okay, I don't know how other people are, but I am A, impatient, and B, very visually affected, So when things look clunky or weird, I just get annoyed, which isn't helpful for anyone, including myself. So in the past, when I've been trying to leave notes on documents, you have to open the thing and then track the comments, and then that stays on the document, and it's how you turn the thing off. It's a lot of maneuvering. With annotations, you can leave comments on the preview view of the file itself. So it doesn't actually attach to the document. It doesn't show when you're presenting to people. It just shows when you're in preview mode in Box. And that means you can really easily leave notes about where to change things or what you like and sort of follow along with the version. So I'm actually going to show you how to do that, which is extremely exciting. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now.
Magic.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and wait for a second. Can you see me?
I can. Great. I can see your screen. That's actually I should just get that on a sign. I can hold up at any time. You're on mute. I can see your screen. Both those things are great. All right. Got it.
I love to check in. We like to make sure we're clear about our communication. Here's my PowerPoint. I need to leave notes for my team because I don't like that this is this font. Why is it that way? I don't know. So what I'm going to do is come down here to the black toolbar. I'm going to click on my annotations button. And now I can leave an annotation on anywhere in this preview mode. So I'm going to say, this font looks weird. And I'll do sort of a grimace face.
Maybe change it to Comic Sans, maybe some papyrus, get a real quality.
For sure. Yeah, in fact, why don't we make another note out here and say, is this even the right blue? I don't know.
Yeah.
We click post. What you're seeing it do is add these annotations like they're comments to the activity pane. So
my gosh, so I don't have to click into the file and find that tiny little thing in PowerPoint.
If I'm out here looking at this slide and I see someone left an annotation, I can use that to take me to where that annotation is located. What's great is that if I present this, none of these are going to show. So it'll only show me my annotations when I'm in preview mode, which is great because that's what I want, right? I want to be seeing it in working mode. I want to see what version it's attached to. It attaches to a version. So extremely exciting stuff. It honestly is really exciting because for those of us who are also educators or working in university environments, in other kinds of environments, we need to leave notes for each other often, but doing that on a PowerPoint, in a PowerPoint itself, can actually be kind of difficult sometimes. So I have found this to be extremely helpful.
Right. Well, and PowerPoint, at least it has a comment button, may not be the best one, but if you're trying to do that on a CAD file or there's so many other file types that I would want to use that for.
Exactly, like an InDesign file. Oh God, I don't know how, so this makes everything a lot easier. Yeah.
And this is why I think talking about tips and tricks is so valuable. By the way, I've been a Box user for more than 10 years. I'm in the Box Customer Hall of Fame. I'm Box certified. I have a wall of things that say that I know what I'm doing about Box. And I did not know if you clicked on an annotation, it took you to the slide. I learned something new today. So
you really didn't know that?
I did not. I really did not know that. This is true shock and awe.
Look at us.
Yeah. See, this is why we do Work Unleashed, so that I can learn how to use Box. Is really what it comes down to.
I also personally like showing annotations in trainings I do because it's sort of like a dazzling moment, so everyone can be like, oh, and I go, yes, I know. It's very exciting.
That is a good ooh-ah for Box customers join us today. Next time you do an end user training, make sure you talk about that. Well, so this is hitting me a little hard because I feel like I should have known that. Can you talk a little bit more when you are educating people, whether it's someone like me and then customer, as you noted, building our standard training, how are you actually thinking about making sure the stuff we're talking about today, the stuff you're talking about in a training lands? Because tips and tricks are great, but you have to remember them to make them useful. Tell me more. How do you think about actually teaching people how to do stuff? I know it's it's a big question, but I know you're up for it, Bridget. Tell me more.
Listen, I think it's true with honestly any field where you're making relationships with other people, right? So that's true in education, but it's also true in consulting. It's true in social work. It's true in more therapeutic environments. Like it's true across the board that when you're making connections with people and you're also trying to teach them things, stuff lands when you give them context. So one of the big things that we like to do at Box Education is constantly talk to customers, talk internally, and figure out like what story makes sense. Like, how are we telling this story? How are we going to talk about annotations in a training that's not just like, hey, this thing is here. What does it solve for? Like, what are your pain points currently? Like, we're moving to Box for a reason at your company, right? So what's the reason, and how can we use this particular tool to help solve for that? I think that's a major thing that, like, sometimes when we're rolling out tools, I think we think, okay, we just got to get it out. We just got to do it, whatever. Just get it out, tell people they have to use it, and we're done. But this extra step of storytelling is so important because it makes people feel A, valued, and B, like they can understand clearly what's happening. So we spend a lot of time thinking about the story of what we're telling here.
Okay, so I heard a story recently from a customer who thought that the cloud was an actual cloud. And they said, Dan, what if it rains? And then I realized they were serious. And it was lovely, kind of made my whole day. But how do you train people like that who think the cloud is an actual cloud? And it just seems like maybe their worldview of technology may be very different than some folks out there. How do you handle those types of folks?
Well, I come from a unique position where when I joined Box, I didn't know what the cloud was. I knew how to be a teacher. I didn't really know how the cloud worked. And honestly, I still have questions sometimes. Where does it go? Where does it live? Why? I have some answers, but you know what I mean? I'm a little suspicious. But ultimately, it's trustworthy, which I've learned. And that's the real thing, right? Is that like we're all endlessly learning. That's the deal about being alive, is that everyone learns things until you are dead. And then maybe you learn more stuff. We just don't know about it. So
to be determined. Yeah, that's outside of the scope of this topic today.
Yeah, you're just a lifelong learner. And so when you keep that in mind, that means that you're able to think more expansively about how to include everybody in the lesson that you're leading, right? Like you're always going to have experts and you're always going to have people who are brand new. So how do you get on the same page and how do you pull each other forward so that it feels like more of a community and less of a you're late, show up on time kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, totally. And when people have so many different modalities, like I'm definitely a hands-on learner. The college I went to, the motto was learn by doing. I like to, that is just how I experience. And other people have different modalities. And I think, when we think about tips and tricks, it's very much about helping people learn in a way that they feel comfortable with. I'm curious, as an educator, as someone who is responsible for helping people learn these things, how do you think about kind of meeting people where they're at in terms of their learning styles and adapting the content and materials and training to a way that suits their needs?
Totally. So when we think about trying to meet people where they're at, it's a question of personas. It's a question of modalities. It's really about trying to get as comprehensive of a view as possible for what that audience might need. So to that end, when we at Box Education are developing different ways of producing training, we think generally in terms of what our surveys tell us, what our customers are telling us. And we do super great with live trainings. That's obviously not possible right now because most of us are in fluctuating states of still working from home, of trying to figure out what work looks like now. So we've also taken some really experimental approaches to developing self-paced learning. And again, that's all based on talking to customers about what their folks need. Are they more into taking like a heftier 20-minute self-paced course with quizzes, or do they need something quick? Do they need like a video series that just gets them the information? So we've been doing a lot of research, really figuring out what makes sense. And we're starting to roll some of that out, which is so exciting because I cannot wait for people to see that not only are we developing brand new stuff, it's all free. We firmly believe at Box Education that all of our training right now should be free because that is how we're going to be able to reach as many people as possible. So the stuff that we roll out in the next 5 months is all going to be available to anybody. And it's going to be
So it sounds like this is free like a free burrito, not free like a puppy. Very different.
Very different. Yeah, it's you want to learn, you can learn. That's there for you. It's also going to be persona based. So if you're an admin, there's going to be several tracks for you. If you're a power user or someone who knows how to use Box and wants to be more helpful, that can be there for you as well. And if you're an end user and you just want to learn like how to use the Slack integration, we've got a bunch of videos that help you do that. So that's kind of how we're thinking about modalities, about how we bring stuff forward.
This is like, I'm a big fan of Khan Academy. So this is like, you're kind of meeting me where I'm at, which is great. That's so cool. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of these courses. I know, Prajun, you and I were chatting recently. You talked about what's going to happen in the next few months. I know a ton of work's been going on behind the scenes. Can you tell me more, maybe show me more, producer Brian? Do we have some about what these actual courses look like? Because in my mind, when I think of technology training, it has historically been terrible and boring. And it's been really tough. So I know you promised me that this would not be. So what do you have to share?
Yeah. So if you are thinking to yourself while you're in your Box account, like I am currently, and you go, oh man, I sure would like to learn something new. You can always click on this question mark here and it's going to take you to Get Training. Yeah. Do you know this?
That's what that button does. Oh my gosh.
So good. I love when I get to like lead people through discovery things. So in a moment, I'll look into Box University. This is where I'm really going to be able to access any training that I need. I can click into a user essentials course, for example. This is our self-paced version of this. I lead a live training every other week. You can hear my weird astrology jokes if you come to that. But if you don't, it's a normal class. It's nice and normal and takes you through the beats of getting started with Box. If I click launch, I'm going to be able to get this course going. I think you should be able to see it still.
I can. Yeah. Kind of. Some launched, kind of hid in the background. I don't know if you can pull it out.
I think I got to reshare and make sure I'm not sharing this tab. Also, this is the deal with leading virtual trainings. There's always some stuff happening. That's fine.
Gotta roll with it. It's the best way to do Zoom school.
Here we go. So here we are in the course itself. It's telling me about some things that I'm going to be learning. I can click into a lesson, and then I can get started learning how to use Box. So it's going to lead me through the basics. Gives me some nice fancy stuff. Now we learn how to log in. So what's really great is that I'm able to do this on my own time. If I realize, I got to go walk the dog like real fast, I can stop, I can leave, I can come back and keep going. So it really lets you go through things in a way that feels interactive, that feels engaging, and gets you the information you need.
I know it sounds so silly when you're like, I guess the first lesson is literally like how to log into Box, because look, you can't use annotations. You can't share a file if you don't know how to log in. It seems so obvious.
And there are 2 ways to log in. If you've got Box Drive, there's 2 ways to be in your content. So what's best for when, And so all those courses kind of help you think about that.
You guys are finding out that I clearly need to attend some of this training. That is so cool. I really like that.
Bud. Come on in.
Okay. And I just want to make sure I heard this correctly, because clearly when we talk about tips and tricks, there's not just like 1 or 2 we could share. There's going to be so much. Box is always changing. It's always getting updated.
Yeah.
I am living proof that there is an opportunity to continue learning here. You said it's completely free. So like, if I am a Box customer, I'm someone who would like to be a professional trained in Box.
Yeah.
They can just go take these courses. They can just go log in. This is how they can spend their weekend.
Yeah. The only thing you'll pay for is a certification test if that's interesting to you. And that'll be around $100. But otherwise, all of the content that you learn from is free.
That seems super fair, by the way, because look, if you're going to take the time to do the work and you're going to study for the test, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not paying. Okay, so we're not charging you to get trained. This is awesome.
Everybody, because education should be free. Hot take: education should be free, and everyone should be able to access it. I don't know. Maybe that's wild, but that's how we feel. So
I completely agree. Knowledge is power, and the more people know, the more powerful they can be. And this is awesome. Okay, so this is obviously going to be similar training for everyone. Now, if I work at an organization that has a super duper specific, highly customized version, I'm in a regulated industry, my experience in Box may be very different than an average customer. Still great, but customized for me. How do they get the same level of training and education, tips and tricks, customized for their usage and their environment? What does that look like if I need something a little more?
Yeah, so that's when you are lucky, because you get to work with our Box education team on the consulting side. So you buy a consulting package, you get training, you get change management with that. And I hear some of you saying, why would I need that? Just trust me. Just trust me. They'll give you the elevator pitch later, but get change management and training. And then you'll be able to tailor those trainings to fit exactly what your environment looks like. So that's what I used to do before starting to work on this project, is that I used to work with customers really diving into what their specific settings are, how to pitch those, how to position them in a training, how to get even the most curmudgeonly people to get on board with your vision for how stuff can work. And it's like the best team I've ever worked with. I really love every single person on that team. They're charming, they're delightful, their trainings are fun. So can't go wrong.
That's a strong recommendation. We've had Linda Bunn has been visit us. Frankie's visited us before. So we've had a couple of folks in that team. And I think many of us joining today would all agree that change management education is the way to sink these tips and tricks in. And it's it's not like all of a sudden you finish and you're like, well, that's as smart as I'm going to get. I'm done. This is, it's a lifelong commitment, as you said, this life, the afterlife, and many therein. But that's so cool to know that they can have their own special versions and flavors of this. That is awesome. Bridget, last question before we let you go. I know you haven't, this has been so useful, I think, to all of us today. Any final insights, wisdom for those who are saying, look, I don't need any more training, I'm good. What would you tell them of why they should continue to get smart on Box? What is your wit and wisdom to share with them today?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you are an end user, and by end user, I mean just a person using Box, you don't manage anything, you're just in it, you're using it every day. There are going to be projects you get added to that need totally new folder structures or ways that you're going to be working that require you to do new stuff. Now you can figure stuff out on your own in Box. Like you can push some buttons and sort out what they do on your own. That's totally possible. What's great about training is that it not only gives you the tools to do the things you need to do, it also, again, gives you that narrative. So it helps you think for the future how you can problem solve, not just in Box, but in other cloud content management tools, other project management situations you're in. So it's really helpful to keep refreshing your knowledge just so that you can start applying them creatively to other scenarios in your life. If you're an admin, it's a funny, similar situation. You can know how to use the admin console all day long, right? But furthering your training means that you also know how to talk to your end users about it in a way that makes sense to them. So you get to learn how to speak about some of these things, how they can solve for problems you're facing every day. Like you don't have to be alone. You could get help, And training is a way to get help. You don't have to be so isolated at this time. You can have someone alongside with you showing you how you can talk about these things. So honestly, I see it as useful of a practical tool as I do of a communication one, of a relational one. Training can solve a lot of issues, I think.
Absolutely. And we spend so much time using these tools and how we work, and it makes sense. It's like, look, if I'm going to spend 8 hours a week or 20 hours a week using different parts of the Box platform and the different applications, spending 1 hour to get better at using all of those different tools is going to save me many times that investment over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year. It really compounds to learn how to get better at using your tools, especially if they're tools you use all the time.
That's why I love our video series a lot. Like I'm really proud of our user video series, which was made by everybody on the Box Ed team. We all pitched in. And what I love about it is that these videos are based on problem solving. They're not just based on Box and this integration. It's like, how do I run a meeting remotely? How do I automate my processes? How do I find stuff fast? It's about problem solving first and getting those tools to contribute to problem solving second. So that's I like if you don't have an hour, if you have 5 minutes, go see our video series and watch one of those. I promise it's going to help somehow.
I have 5 minutes. I will absolutely do it. And for everyone attending today, we'd encourage you to do the same. Bridget, thank you so much. As you said, training can solve for a lot of issues. I may need to put that on a bumper sticker or something. It's great.
Yeah,
great
learning
insights.
is good. That's also a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, learning is the ultimate tip and trick. That's really what it comes down to. Awesome. Thank you so much, Bridget. I'm going to share a little bit more for people how they can learn more. Thank you so much. Brian, can I see my edge slide? There we go. Awesome. This was so great. Okay. I don't know if any of you are just buzzing with all the things you've learned, but now I see so many possibilities to continue this. If you would like to sign up for one of those classes, as you heard, they're totally free like a free burrito. It's about as good as life gets, y'all. You have a free burrito, have some free education. Go to bit.ly/box_education. That's an important one. Don't miss that. I'm not really, I think if you miss the underscore there, it sends you to an Xbox training class or something. So make sure you type that in properly. bit.ly/box_education. That's where you're going to find those training videos, those self-paced guides, the user essentials, the admin essentials. every training course in the world that's suitable for end users, for people who are new to Box, for admins, and everyone in between. They're all available now for free, as you heard. That is like about as cool as it gets. So everyone can now get super smart on Box, and as Bridget noted, going to be educated on the problems you can solve using Box. So sometimes if you ever hear the law of the hammer, we have a lot of hammers here at Box. We're going to teach you some of the nails that you can hit them with. I'm so excited. May actually take a class later today. Join me. Maybe I'll do a Peloton class and a Box education class. How's that for a happy Friday? So there you go. All right. So that was Box education. If you like this session, you want to learn a little bit more about how Box can help you, your company, your friends, your family. I don't know if your family is a CIO, would love to talk to them. Definitely. You can go to box.com/remote. It is where you will find Work Unleashed Live, Work Unleashed blog posts, everything under the sun, including some links to past sessions and some really insightful things that we've shared around how the nature of work has been changing over the last few months with different file types we're seeing, different modalities. And I think you'll understand why Bridget and her team have been so excited to deploy some of our team's resources behind revamping the entire education philosophy and the courses and how they're getting delivered to you, so that ultimately the tips and tricks we share are going to be available to everyone. You'll know why. You'll know why they're doing all that. So there you go. Love to thank Bridget, of course, for joining us today, sharing her insights, being our first, I think, person from Austin on Work Unleashed Live. So super cool. Y'all could have been anywhere this morning. You were here with us today. I really appreciate that. This has been Work Unleashed Live. I've been Dan O'Leary. You've been you. This has been awesome. We will see you soon for another session of Work Unleashed Live. In the meantime, go to box.com/remote. That's where we're going to find all these resources. And we will see you back in a week-ish or two for a very spooky and fall-themed edition of Work Unleashed Live. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.